Hey, welcome back. And I am sorry that I am late. Thank you so much for joining. And I hope you enjoy this if you're watching it on the replay. I thought that it would be nice to just spend some time relaxing and painting. Like, my aim is just to literally have a good time. I'm going to be focusing on loose florals as always. It's just, when you ever get in the mood when you're like, I need some self care today. And today, that self care is going to be in the form of painting. So let me know what you're doing. Let me know if you're painting along as well. Um, Hopefully, you're not getting any extra sound. And then I may play around with two new papers that I got. But first off, to just loosen off, I'm going to be using the Clairefontaine paper. I'm trying really hard to finish this paper, which is why we are there. And I thought that it would be nice to play around with schminke, try and get myself out of my comfort zone and try a new medium or a newish brand if you like. This is the swatch card. So these are not the colors that I feel like I would naturally go to, which is why I want to play around with them. And oops, just making sure you can see. Yeah, so these are not normally my go-to colors, but I think it will be fun to loosen up. I'm also going to be using the Jackson's mop brush because, again, you can't really be that detailed when you are using a mop brush. And let's see. I like this permanent alizarin crimson color, as you know. And I'll try and make like a peach. So maybe if I mix it with a little bit of yellow ochre. Hey, no worries at all. Thank you so much for joining, Joanna. How are you? I am very good. I just finished a night shift. So if I seem a bit sleepy, that is why. I just wanted to use this opportunity, aka today, to have like a low pressure painting day. And I thought that it would be fun to do that with you guys. Just using the Clairefontaine paper to loosen up first, and then depending on how I feel, I may use some better paper. And I'm using the Schminke watercolors because I haven't really used them that much yet either. And the focus is going to be being loose. I'm trying to be loose and just have a little bit of self-care. What are you up to? Are you painting as well? One of the main differences with a mop brush is that it can hold so much more water. So you can see how many times I've dipped this in the paint and yet we're still going. That is a wonderful thing. And although it almost like at first appearance looks like a round brush, it's just a lot thicker. And I find that I can't do as like detailed tiny strokes because the point isn't quite as hard. which makes it perfect for messing around. No, am I tired? Yes, no, I am tired, but I find it very hard to readjust after night shifts. Um, I don't know, when you finish, I don't know if I should stay up so that I can sleep at night. I don't know if I should take a nap. It just takes me such a long time to like actually adjust. Um, which is why this was almost like a bit of an impromptu, hey guys, I'm going live, because I decided I was going to stay up. Let's take a little bit more of this permanent alizarin crimson. And I feel like this needs some contrast. Some contrast. Let's get some of that Prussian. Oh, should we try this one? Feel that as much as I don't mind this paper for watercolor, for gouache, I really don't seem to like it for watercolor. But I'm trying to not think about that and instead think about just being loose, having fun, putting some color on the page, seeing what color schemes I like, and taking it from there. I like this song. I can't remember where I've heard it. Yeah, I remember you said you were a nurse. Honey, take my hand. I hope that you've recovered from COVID, Joanna. I find it quite hard to find music for the live streams because I'm echoing. Because I tend to like Afro beats, R&B, and I can't play any of that because then I'll get copyrighted. This feels quite different to what I would normally create. Maybe it is the night shift having an effect. I'm glad you're getting better. So this is the first one. Super, super loose, just to get some color down on the page. I'm going to try using a different brush. think what I will do is focus on doing bouquets. Nice loose bouquets. They're always interesting because you're trying to balance adding enough flowers but then not adding too many. We'll make it autumnal. Sometimes it's helpful to look at photos of actual bouquets so that you can see the different shapes that are there. In doing so, you're not trying to literally recreate the same flowers that you, or at least I'm not trying to recreate the same flowers that I'm seeing detail for detail, but instead, I'm just trying to get inspiration from the shapes. Um, and let's add some yellow. Another thing that you may notice is that when I do bouquets or when I do florals, I go from one area to another to just try and keep the whole thing balanced. So every time that I put a flower or a brushstroke, I'm trying to look at the whole painting and try and see, okay, well, where else could it be? Where else should it be to balance it? Especially when I add the foliage, I'm literally just jumping around from place to place. Let's see. Lately, I've been having so many ideas of lots of different things that I want to create. Feels like the opposite of art block because then the challenge is just trying to figure out how I can make enough time to actually do all the things I want to do. Oh, that is such a good question, Joanna. What are my favorite watercolors? I good question. I think do I have just one? I love Daniel Smith. Like I like the way they feel and the way that they reactivate. And I also really like Roman Schmull. Like I'm really, really feeling them. With Schminke, I love the way, like I love the consistency and I love the way they feel. I just don't know about the colors that I have, like the color selections. I feel like if I had the Schminke consistency with the Roman Schmall colors, I would be in love. um, but at the moment, those two, Roman Schmall and Daniel Smith, are definitely like ranking top. What about you? What are your favorites? And I keep feeling like these pieces need more contrast. And in my head, they just need a really, really nice dark purple. So I'm going to mix some of that Prussian blue with my permanent carmine. A little bit more, a little bit more, and then we're getting there. Just because it all looks quite samey. Oh, I've spent so much time looking on eBay for like good deals. Like I know that they must be there, and I've seen some people share like some amazing finds from eBay, but I haven't been as lucky yet. I do always keep an eye out, like nothing better than affordable art supplies. Did you buy the Roman Schmore as individual pans or did you get a set? Let me see. Add some more here. Feel like the purple added some more oomph to it. It's getting a little bit too light again, so let's make it again, but maybe this time a little bit darker still. Gotta love contrast. Honestly, such a powerful thing. And by that, I mean like looking at the lights and the darks as opposed to just the colors that are in there. And that is impressive. 60. I have, I think, 19, but there are so many beautiful colors that I can easily see how you could get to 60. Are there any colors that you would recommend? I've just actually, do I have 20 now? I got like one or two during the sale, but I want to get more. Well, soonish. So I'm always open to suggestions. Thank you. Sometimes the comments don't come back on replay, which is why I like putting them on the screen just so that when people watch back, they can follow what we're saying. Trying to see if it's balanced. Yeah, no, of course. Take your time. Anytime. I'm not gonna go and I don't have any immediate need to buy anything. I was just curious. And I can dun, 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 dun. Da, 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 dun. Have you started painting with your gouache? If so, how's that going? Here we go. I quite like the notes I made last time, so try and do the same this time. Because I always feel like I'll remember the colors I used, but realistically, I won't. Although this color scheme is very similar to the one I seem to love doing. Oh, matte acrylic ink. I haven't even tried that yet. That's the thing I love about art. There's literally so many things. Every time that it's impossible to get bored because anytime that you feel like maybe you know how a medium behaves and you know almost everything about it, which I've never got to, but I imagine you learn something completely different. Like I spent so long looking at pigments just to make the video. And this it's actually really fascinating. Like I ended up spending so long looking, and I it's something that I wanted to continue doing because then I was also curious about like, oh well, what pigments do I have in my sets? And I have a lot of sets, so it started taking a while to make the list. This is lemon yellow, and it's schminke. And then this is lemon yellow. And permanent carmine. This is permanent carmine. And this was, you can tell, you can see a running theme. Need to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What did I use? This one or this one? I used Prussian blue. Prussian blue and permanent carmine. And it's schminke. Schminke. So that I remember. Another thing I really like doing, but I haven't done in a while, I think more so because of like live streams wise, I feel like it's more interesting for people to watch painting as opposed to like drawing. But one thing I really like doing as well is adding like fine liners to my watercolors. Maybe I'll spend some time after doing that. It's not completely dry, so I wouldn't use it. But normally I just take something like my uni pins, which are quite affordable fine liners that are waterproof. And I just like to go over the watercolor, but very like still very loosely. And then I can add, it's like that. It's very simple, but I can add extra details if I want and little bits of like my faux shading if I want. I feel like it ties pieces together quite nicely. What this is this piece. I think I will. I really like how it ends up looking, and I was doing it for the most part Actually, I like how both look. I like how loose it looks with no ink, but then I also like how it looks with ink. So there was a phase that I went through where I would paint everything almost twice, like very, very similarly, just so that I could do ink on one and not ink on the other, and then have the best of both worlds, or at least that's how it felt. Um, should I continue with this? I want to try, oops, sorry. I want to try the Roman small. I wish this had a sap green. I love sap greens. I'll put this in later actually because it's still wet. This is my Roman small palette. Well, actually, instead of this one, let's use my Happy Mail palette. I feel like I keep getting drawn to like the colors in Roman small are just so beautiful. And I still feel like I haven't quite mastered them. Like there's still something about them that's quite different in the way that they behave. This is my Happy Mail palette. So it has schmink. Ooh, sorry for all the noise. It's all the everything coming down. So it has Holbein colors and core colors as well. And they are beautiful. Sorry for the changing lighting. It's I'm using natural lighting, like sunlight. I wonder if I should use this paper. I'm just looking to see. Yeah, I'm gonna use. Let's use this paper. This is my Bao Hong paper. This is what I mean by when I said, Joanna, don't feel bad because I didn't buy any new paper. I have so much paper. I have so many sketchbooks. It's actually unreal. So I just, in doing that video where I was comparing to see which ones I preferred for gouache, it just gave me an opportunity to use what I had, which was quite nice. So this is the Bao Hong paper now. With Holbein. And I'm just doing nice loose rows. I think one of the things that I will try to work on is like my thought process when I'm doing when I'm doing loose florals. I think the reason I like it is because I don't actually think. I just like put paintbrush to paper and see what happens. So while the rose is still wet, I'm just adding some color so that it's not all one color. And because the paper is still wet, they kind of bleed into each other and it should have really nice transitions from one color to another. So it's just adding a little bit of interest and making it a little bit different. And then on the edge, I'm just adding some water and the tiniest bit of paint so that it can have like really nice soft edges. And then what we can do is pick another color. There's a permanent violet. Let's do that. So you can pick another color, do something quite close. And then as I get further out, I like to add more water and less paint. But if you let them edges touch, then they can bleed into each other and again just make it a little bit more delicate. Although one of the things I found with Holbein is that where you put it is very, very much where it stays. Whereas core is almost like the complete opposite. If there's, it just moves on its own, it goes absolutely anywhere of its own accord. Initially, when I was painting with it, I was, because I wasn't used to it doing that. I was like, is it me? Am I doing something wrong? What is going on? But it's actually just the way that it behaves. I think because it has aquaporin in it. I have no idea what it actually is, but I think that because of that, it tends to move around. Yeah, they're quite unique. What did you used to do to stay awake, Joanna? Or would you stay awake after nights or would you go to sleep? So many years in, and I still don't know what the right thing to do is. Again, to add a little bit of like interest, even with the leaves, I go in and I add a little bit of a darker color. Gosh, Holbein is so like bright and beautiful. Because this is 100% watercolor paper, I'm not going to. I'm not going to waste it. I feel like I'm going to do another another painting here and another. I'm going to fill it up with florals. Is Holbein best to try and gouache or watercolor? I've been trying to stay awake for a few hours nap. Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't know. I feel like every time I try to nap, I then end up actually sleeping and waking up at night. Um, but we will see what actually happens today. And I haven't tried Holbein gouache. So I really don't know. I feel like they behave completely differently. I If I had to pick one, which one would I pick? I think if I had to pick one, I would pick the gouache because I know that their gouache is like really good, and there's not. I feel like there's not that many or as many gouache brands as there are watercolors, and I feel like their watercolors are good. They are good, but then there are also like a lot of other good watercolor brands that you could probably enjoy just as much. I think it depends. Well, also, I guess it depends on what it is that you like in watercolors. Like, are you looking for granulation because they don't really granulate at all? Um, but are they like really nice, good watercolors? Yes. I love the song as well. I don't know where I heard it, but it's so it sounds so sad, but I feel like it's so nice. I'm gonna turn it up a little bit so that you guys can enjoy it. mm, I know you've done your part. It's not fair. I'm a yeah, so they don't granulate. So if that's what you like, then I would probably go stick with Roman Schmall, Schminke, Daniel Smith. Sweet on tight. It'll be alright. Only cause I feel true to be good inside. Everything that you thought you should didn't seem to do you any good. This looks incomplete. So let's see what we can do. I know you tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. It's innocent. How much longer will you suffer in this life? Hold on time. It'll be alright. I know you've tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. Change your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? It's not your fault. Hold on tight. It'll be alright. Yeah, very much more beautiful granulating colors. I think, yeah, I'm hit or miss on granulation. Sometimes I love it, and sometimes it's just not my thing. I think it very much depends on what I'm trying to paint. So I don't mind it in florals, especially because you can just show it off. Let's add some more of this opera pink. I think this color is so beautiful. It's just so unfortunate that it is completely and utterly fugitive. Like it is not going to last. But as for being stunning and like wow factor, it's got it. All these songs sound like I'm going through some sort of heartache. It's just a playlist. It's a royalty-free playlist. That way you can just have it on and not worry about being a DJ as well as painting. What do you tend to do when you're painting? Do you listen to music? Do you watch stuff? I normally watch crime dramas, but last time when I was doing the 10-hour challenge and I listened to music, I actually had a really good time. So I've started doing that a little bit more. And if you think of any other like videos that you would like to see on Ko-fi or on YouTube, then let me know. Um, I'm keen to be sure that this is actually like helpful, like Ko-fi is actually helpful and enjoyable. Otherwise, there's not much point. So I'm always like looking and thinking of different ways to make it better. And I was looking at the feedback as well to try and figure out if there's anything that you guys want. So there were a few good suggestions there. See, that sounds lovely. I feel like it's good to have it's been good to have chill music on the live streams because one of the problems that I have, I feel like the music I listen to is quite like happy dancey music, and then I feel like I want to dance as well as paint, um, which isn't bad. It's just not necessarily like I'm painting and focusing. But I guess as long as we're enjoying the process, that's what matters, isn't it? I've never heard this song before, but they all sound so similar that you kind of know where it's going. Yeah, I think calm music is the way. And improve on gouache and watercolor and chat to people along the way. See, that's what I want to do as well. Um, that's exactly what I want to do. And I want it to be like helpful. I know, like, obviously I'm not an expert. So in my head, it's like, okay, I know I won't know all the answers, but I love the fact that there are so many people who know so many different things. Like, there are people who love doing portraits, there are people who love gouache, there are people who love watercolor. There are so many of you. And is there a particular subject that you prefer doing, Joanna? Don't like the leaf that I did there. So, so I've like almost wiped it off by adding water. And what I'm going to do when it dries is go back and do it again. And I'll just just blur it out. Is blur the term I want? I think so. Is that kind of like nice, loose, blurry effect. So that's one flower on this side. And the other one, what should we do on this side? Um, yeah, no, that sounds really cool. Can I paint people? I haven't painted people in years, but I want to. I really do want to like give it a go again. I was actually talking to Minty about it because who's one of the Kofi members because I remembered her beautiful portraits. And then I was thinking, I want to do portraits again. Can I do animals? No. And I've kind of accepted that I probably won't ever. And as in, like, won't ever do it seriously. Like, not that I will never ever paint an animal. And yeah, I love landscapes. I love florals. They're just so relaxing. What is it about them that's just so calming? It's unreal. Just doing loose edges by adding water, and then it becomes softer. And then when it's a little bit drier, I will, and actually I can add a bit of like dark orange here, maybe a little bit reddish. I don't want too much, just a tip. Ah, yeah, her work is beautiful, very unique and like calming. Also, coming too close to my edge. Like I find her art very peaceful. I don't think I knew about Natasha Newton until like I started my YouTube channel, which seems crazy now. I feel like I've watched almost all her videos in a very short period of time because I was like, this is amazing. But I think it was when I created that video about my favorite YouTube artist, quite a few people mentioned that I would really like her. And they also mentioned Lindsay the Frugal Crafter. That's how I discovered her. Oh, they're beautiful. What do you do with prints? I've got some of Sarah Burns's prints, but I don't really know what to do with them. I'm one of her like Patreons because I really liked the idea of like not only supporting her but also having a bit of her art. I don't know, like because I think it's so beautiful. If you like landscapes, you'll probably really love Sarah Burns as well. It's very different to Natasha Newton's though. It's more like gouache, yeah, gouache landscapes. This is darker than I intended. It's still wet. I don't want to mess that up because I think that's beautiful there. Let me just add something here. And some contrast here. I think initially I was going to do buds and these little stems, but now I think I'm just going to do leaves. And let's do carmine. Is this carmine? Nope, that's opera pink. That's not what I wanted, but it is what we have. Yeah, no, I don't know what to do. I was thinking of maybe adding them to like a sketchbook of mine just so that I have them, somewhere safe and when I look back I see it. Because I don't tend to have like art on my walls and stuff. But I just want them somewhere like I like the idea of like having a collection of art. I think it was one of the questions I asked on my community tab. Literally, the way it works is like I have so many questions in my head all the time, and then every so often I'm like, let me just see what other people what other people think, what other people do, and that's why I also had the question about the gouache, what papers people use, what they prefer, smooth or hot press, 100% cotton or cellulose or mixed media. I genuinely think the consensus is that there's no like best paper. Like there are some that I enjoyed using more, but I feel like with watercolor, as much as everyone would be like, oh, you can, there's no, in art, no one can tell you like how to do things, right? There's no one way of doing it. That's why it's art. Not many people would argue with you that 100% cotton paper is better for watercolor. Like the watercolors just behave differently and quite nicely. Whereas with gouache, couldn't really, it wasn't as temperamental as watercolor would be. Or the difference that I've seen with watercolor on 100% cotton is not anywhere near the difference. What was the most common paper was most common paper was mixed media and 100% cotton. And I use watercolor, cellulose watercolor paper. So, and that came third. That's part of the reason that was like, I should really do this experiment and just know which I prefer. Happy to give spoilers if you want to know, but if you want to watch the video, that's also equally fine. Because is this still wet? Oh my, this is going to be wet for a long time. I would want, I don't think this pen works. I'm looking for my fine liners, but I would want one that's thicker than 0.1. I like 0.1 for like really fine details, not everything. Thinking where do I have it? Oh, you're up for spoilers. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Behind. There's a lag when I do YouTube, when I do live streams. So in terms of spoilers, I found that my favorite, so initially I basically had 6 papers and I did them, I tested them blind, almost like I could see what was hot press and what was cold press because like I have eyes. But other than that, I didn't like make it clear which one was 100% cotton, which one was mixed media, which one was cellulose. And from and then I also did things like testing out the brightness and colors and everything. And then I did paintings. So my opinion when I did like, swatches and things was different to when I did paintings. When I initially did the swatches, my favorite paper was the 100% cotton hot press paper. Like I liked that it was nice and smooth. I liked how the colors were. I liked how it blended. It handled like really thin layers of water very well as well. And then when I did the painting, I didn't like the hot press paper anymore, which was a bit weird. But it's almost like I feel like I liked I like the like I like the paint actually gripping onto the paper, and it kind of felt like when I was using the hot press it was just laying on top of the paper because it's just so smooth. It was so smooth, it was just harder for me to control, like to do like I could paint and the paintings were lovely, but that's why hot press came third. And then between the like first place and second place again was kind of tricky because I did the painting and the swatches separately. So based on the paintings and the painting experience, my favorite was 100% cotton watercolor paper, which I was shocked by. But my close second was cellulose cold press watercolor paper. So when I was doing them, I was just like, it was very difficult for me to pick which one I liked most out of the two. And then in the end, I decided on the 100% cotton. The only thing that was a bit like different is that when I did really fine watery washes initially, I didn't really like it on the 100% cotton. Obviously, I then go over it and I cover it anyway, and I can't explain why it behaved like that. Um, but that was why, like, so basically, it was my conclusion was I actually prefer to do gouache on cold pressed paper with texture, which I hadn't like compared side by side, and I like 100% cotton. It was really really nice. The cellulose hot press paper did not do well, but I don't know if it's because of the brand I used, because it behaved in a really weird way. I just didn't enjoy it at all. The mixed media paper I was surprised by, but that also did really well, like very well. So yeah, tested 6 papers. First place was 100% cotton, cold pressed watercolor paper. Very close second place slash maybe technically tie was cold pressed cellulose watercolor paper. Third place was 100% cotton hot press paper. And then fourth place was mixed media paper. Fifth place was the hot press cellulose paper, but I don't know if it's brand specific. If I could be bothered, I would go buy a different brand of cellulose, 100%, buy a different brand of cellulose hot press paper and then compare it again. But I know that I don't use hot press that much. And now that I know I'm not even going to use it, as in like I am going to use it, but now that I know that it's not even my favorite thing for gouache, I don't want to go out and buy it. I'd rather use the money to buy paper that I'd like. So I still included it, but I would basically say don't buy from Casa, don't buy the Casa hot press paper. And last place was like generic sketchbook paper, which was did better than I thought, but it was still not great, you know, like if you compare it to actually just using paper that's meant for mixed media, the difference is clear. But if you have any questions about it, I'm happy to answer. I haven't finished editing it yet. That's next on my plan for today. No, you're more than welcome. Um, I didn't know if you'd want to watch the video straight away or like as in like watch the video or if you'd want to know spoilers, but I kind of felt bad because I feel like I know the answer and I'm not giving a good it felt like I wasn't given a good answer because I wasn't trying to give any spoilers. But yeah, gouache is forgiving. Gouache will work on most papers, but I feel like there are some papers that I liked a lot more than others. Vermilion hue. Can you see, like, to me, this is like one of the beautiful things about 100% cotton watercolor paper. And bearing in mind that I'm still very much new to it, I have stacks and stacks to get through, and I haven't used it not halfway enough. But if you look at like the gentle transitions, that is just beautiful. Bearing in mind, I am still the same person. I'm still painting the same way. But if you compare it to this, which I always like I still enjoy and like painting on cellulose paper. But you see the like blooms and hard edges here? You just don't get them, or I just don't get them as much on 100% cotton paper. Like this transition right here for me, beautiful. um, and I was so resistant to getting cotton, 100% cotton paper. I was just like, oh, it's so expensive. I can't do it. I have to get the cheaper paper. But honestly, now I have so much like cheaper paper, and okay, not as much 100% cotton, but it's going to take me forever to finish all the paper that I have, if so that would be one thing I'd say, to get it sooner. If I could do it again, I'd probably get it sooner or start using it sooner. Trying to see if I can find my pen, but I feel like it will involve getting up, looking around, and I don't want to do that. So we'll press on. Oh, can I recommend 100% cotton paper? I know that people okay, bearing in mind I haven't compared any like side by side, and also that I'm relatively new to it. I haven't used that many different brands. I think I've only used two brands. I've used Bao Hong paper, which is this one, and I've also used Paul Rubens, and I like both of them. Based on like what I've seen other artists use. Am I doing this wrong? Based on what I've seen other artists use and recommend, I feel like other really good brands would be Arches, or Arche, as some people say, because it's French. Fabriano Artistico is also very good. But this is the thing, they're pricey. And also, is there another brand? Fabriano Artistico, Arches. If you want sketchbooks, then Etchers sketchbooks are 100% cotton. Strathmore 500 series is 100% cotton. Yeah, so they're all good. I haven't really heard anyone talk about like 100% cotton paper and say like it's bad paper. If that makes sense. So I think you're pretty safe going with any of the big brands. Like, I mean, I still use cellulose. I still have a good time with cellulose. I don't think it's, bad to use, but I do think that there is actually a difference in the way that the watercolor behaves on the paper. And I didn't think that there would be, and I took forever to come around to it. But now I use both. I still have to use my Arches, my Etcher, and etc. etc. I'll need to do like a use it up challenge, but I think any of those brands would be good. So Arches, Fabriano Artistico, they're the one that do 100% cotton. Fabriano has like a Fabriano 5 that's 50% cotton, and then it also has like one that it just says watercolor paper, like Fabriano watercolor paper, but that's not cotton at all. So be mindful of that. There is Saunders do 100% cotton as well, but I haven't tried them, so I don't know. I don't know what they're like. But I think at some point I will invest in getting more, and then I can do a comparison video. But if you get any of them and you want to, you have a strong opinion on how they behave, then please let me know. I'm so sorry. I made a reel about how like you put stuff down and then you look for it. Where it's literally like you put down a brush and then it's disappeared. And I wasn't joking when I said that is basically me all the time. If you watch back on the live streams, the number of times that I'm literally looking for stuff and I don't get up. So it has to be within hand distance, hand reach. But for the life of me, can I find it? No. The only other thing I would say also with 100% cotton paper is I think, sorry, this is going to be a horrible side. I'm just going to mute myself. I also think it's dependent on like what techniques you're using and what you're trying to get out of it. Yeah. Um no, it's just so annoying. Yeah, so I think it depends on what like you're trying to get. So some people say like blooms, which is the like hard edges and things. Um or if you're not going to layer a lot, or if you're not going to blend a lot, if you're not doing all those techniques, then you could probably just use normal paper, like normal watercolor paper, which is why I got two Paul Rubens watercolor blocks to compare. Um, well, to compare to, you know, why did I get them? Yeah, to compare to paint. So this one of them is 100% cotton, and one of them is 50% cotton. Which is which, my friend? That is the question. Because there's not that much English writing. So this one says 300 GSM, aquarelle watercolor, Paul Rubens, cold pressed watercolor. Does it say it anywhere? You'd think. I can't believe neither of them say what they are. Wow. Okay, well, I guess it's gonna be a blind test. No, I'm gonna paint with it. I'm going to. Yeah, it's so bizarre. This feels. I like. I know it's a block, but I like that it's hard. Like it's a nice finish. I'm going to paint on both of them, and then at some point, I'm gonna have to go back on my orders and look at the covers that were on Amazon to determine which one was which. I reckon. Yeah, it doesn't say wet on wet technique. Why wouldn't they say this? Bizarre, no? Okay. So it comes with a front sheet, but that's fine. Makes it we shall be unbiased when we paint in these. So one's 50% cotton. Whoops. Let's do this. One's 50% cotton, the other one's 100% cotton. Can't tell which is which. This comes with a postcard. Oh, this is, I mean, it's meant to be cold pressed, but this is super rough. Can you see? Comparing it to like this one, which is Bao Hong paper, versus this. It's a lot rougher. Okay. And this one's also cold press underneath. Let's compare it to this. I find it a bit confusing because, like, yeah, this one's also rough. Can you see it? But not as rough as this one. Both of them apparently are cold pressed. Oh well, what's life without a little bit of experimentation? So I will put this to the side. Do you want to pick a color scheme? I am open to suggestions. Sorry, my bad. My my palette fell. My other palette fell. I was trying to make space so I could put all these at the same esque level. Teal with something. Oh, I love teal. Do I have teal in this? I don't have. Do I have? No, I don't have teal in this one. So, time for the Roman Schmool. Wait, I think yeah, without a doubt, it's made its way into my heart. I can't believe I am being so clumsy. Hello, good looking. Okay, teal. Last time we did with teal with orange, which I thought wouldn't be nice, but actually was very nice. So maybe I'll do like teal with like a yellow. Sorry for the lighting. Gonna try and keep it somewhat even. And we have cobalt teal. Cobalt teal. Let's see, do we like this paper? Gonna add some more. And do something similar on this side. This one feels less rough than this one. I prefer it so far. I know it's like literally early days. I just don't like seeing like super, super, super rough texture, because I like the, I guess, flexibility of, and also I guess because sometimes I like drawing, like doing line washes with watercolor. And then trying to make the edges softer. And more teal. Actually, I'm going to use some of that ocean blue and just add little bits. You think this one's 100%? Maybe. I have to check my Amazon account. Ooh, gotta love that color. Part of me feels like this might be the 100% cotton, even though it's not. Like I'm not liking the texture only because, well, actually, it's not based on my painting experience. It's just based on like the outside cover being nicer. But I don't know. My wrist. We will see. Some more teal and ocean blue. Ooh. And trying to think of flower. And more contrast. Um, I'm enjoying this paper more, so maybe you're right. Finding this one harder to work with a little bit. More so because it's taking longer to dry. Part of me feels like this might be 100%. Like, oh my god. Well, you know what? Best case scenario would be that this paper, the cheap. Well, is it cheaper? I think the prices were actually quite similar, um, which was a little bit confusing in terms of like you'd think the 100% cotton would be a lot more expensive. Just adding that little bit of extra petals on the side. This is still kind of wet. No worries at all. Thank you so much for joining. I had so much fun. I will probably be here for a little while I try to fight sleep post nights. But thank you so much for joining. And I will probably write the answers in the description once I check my Amazon and I know which one is which. But have fun with your mum. Don't rush. Take some gold. Gosh, Roman Schmall is just bay. It's so nice. Hey Lorna. Welcome. It's just the two of us. Joanna's gone to talk to her mum. How are you? I am currently painting on two different papers that I got. Both of them are from Paul Rubens. However, the one is 50% cotton, one is 100% cotton, and the packaging doesn't say which is which. So I'm painting on both of them without knowing which is which. And then I will check my Amazon orders to see. But I thought it would be nice to kind of do it as another blind study, another blind painting like the gouache one that's coming. How's your day going? Are you painting as well? I've just finished, well, I say just, I finished my night shifts. So if I seem a little bit sleepier, that's why. Um, can I feel any difference yet? I'm enjoying this paper more, but I don't know. One of the key things thus far is like the texture. So this one feels, although they're both hold pressed, apparently, this one's a lot rougher. Can you see? If I put it at an angle in comparison to this one. So this one's a lot rougher. It's taking longer to dry. I'm not enjoying it as much. I'm enjoying this one a lot more. Um, so I feel like this one, I keep going back and forth because I almost feel like, oh, well, the fact that it's taking so long to dry, maybe this is the one that's 100% cotton. But I'm starting to think it must be this one. Like this one's a lot nicer to work on. So if it's 50% cotton, then I am glad because that is a tiny bit cheaper. And obviously, every little helps. But I will check. I don't, and it would have been nice if they were both like, because they are both quote unquote cold pressed, but it would have been nice if the textures were actually a little bit more similar because I don't know how much of me not enjoying it as much is actually the texture as opposed to the paper. But I think for the most part it's like beyond the paper. It's more so the way that it's staying wet and pooling and not quite moving the same way. I don't know if you can see a difference. My father taught us how to play guitar, and we started up a band in my garage. Sorry for the changing lighting using sunshine. But if it does get too much, I'll turn it off. I'll turn it off. I will close the curtains and turn on my lights. But I love sunshine. Oh, tiny phone. Yeah, I've finished my nights. Um, so finished this morning. um, I was saying I never know what I'm meant to do after in terms of like, despite having done them for years now, I never know whether I should try and stay awake or take a nap but quite often what ends up happening is I take a nap but actually end up sleeping until 6 p.m. and then I can't sleep at night. So I'm trying to get a little bit better. And I feel like because I'm tired, I can't do, I can't do anything that would be too strenuous or. So why not actually relax? Why not use this rare opportunity that I feel like I can't actually do anything properly to just relax and enjoy myself? I'm really, really curious because this, to me, this has to be the one. If it's not, I'm very confused. But then also part of me is just a little bit skeptical as to how much I should trust anything that's said. Like, why would it not say anything? Is that not weird? Why would you sell a product and not say what it is? Fair enough. I guess they didn't anticipate that someone would buy both of them to see which one they should buy in future. Yeah, no, it's my body clock is a complete and utter mess every time that I do nights. Can you see? They're both rougher than I would expect for cold pressed, but one is rougher than the other. And this is some Bao Hong cold pressed paper to compare. It's just that the grain on these ones is bigger, but I prefer something that's a little bit more subtle depending on how I'm feeling. So we're gonna call this paper one because I don't want to take it off and then be confused as to which one was which. Ooh, this is paper one. This is paper two. And I liked this one more than I liked this one. And I'll just put a small 2 on this one and a small 1 on this one. Because I was saying the other key thing is that I like doing line work sometimes on my watercolors. And this paper isn't really suited to that. But thank you so much for making the suggestion about pigments, a video on pigments. I spent hours reading. It got so I got so engrossed and so interested that I just didn't know where to stop. So in terms of like the video, I'm pretty much just going to like focus on like beginner stuff. But afterwards, you should have seen me. I started looking at all my palettes, looking at my palettes differently to see, you know, what pigments do they have, which ones are actually like good quality, which ones have just used like cheaper and more affordable pigments, which pigments behave better in different types of paintings. It's actually quite fascinating. There's a lot. So this one is this, just in case anyone looks on Amazon and sees it. This first one. And if it says it anywhere, I can't see it. 300 GSM, 20 sheets, watercolor, signed, reworkable, wet on wet technique, acid free. My wrist. Watercolor block. And then 2, the one that was super rough, I actually thought might have been 100% paper, 100% cotton because it came in like a slightly nicer book. And it's this one. And both says the same thing. Past and future. Protection, preservation, sun protection, moisture proof. No one want, maybe. No. No. I'll have to check and then write it in the comments and the description so that you know which one is paper 1 and which one is paper 2. So paper 1 is this brown cover one and is the one that I enjoyed the most. And then paper 2 is this one that comes in a nicer cover but has a rougher texture and I didn't like as much. and I will tell you which one is 100% cotton. But I feel like I should probably go and take a break. I'll see how I feel at the end of the day, or I mean, maybe like in an hour or so once I've had something to eat. And if I'm still energetic, I may go live again, but probably on like mainly YouTube. But before I go, did you have any questions or anything you wanted to let me know? I'm sorry you caught the end. This is the other paintings that we did. So this is Bao Hong paper. And I was saying that one of the clear things that I've noticed is just like the really, really nice transitions that you can have when you use 100% cotton. And I was very resistant to it because I wanted the cheapest paper and I was like, how big can the difference be? But to avoid blooms is unreal. So I did this one beforehand. And again, I like this. I like my paintings on cellulose paper as well. But then when I compare them side by side, I'm like, oh, I didn't notice like, you know, hard edges like this here just don't seem to happen as much on the 100% cotton paper. Like I feel like there's a clear difference. And I did both of these today, like I did at the beginning of the live stream. I did this. I feel like we can disregard this. It was like me just putting color down. But although these are the same papers, I just wasn't really enjoying the clef. This is the Clairefontaine paper, cellulose paper. Wasn't really enjoying it as much for watercolors as I do for gouache. So I'm probably not going to be doing that often. I'll just use my De La Rani paper. But yeah. So I feel like in terms of which one behaved more like 100% cotton, neither of them have blooms. I guess one is 50%, so it's not like they have no cotton whatsoever. But I feel like this got some really nice like blends as well. So, and this is the one paper, the one I liked most that's less rough. So I feel like this might be the 100% cotton. And this one, although it's nice and it doesn't have blooms, I feel like the transitions haven't been quite as smooth. Just my general impression. Thank you so much for joining, Lorna. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm tired and sleepy. But I think once I get something to eat, because the other thing is that obviously I feel like my body clock is so messed up that I don't even know. I don't know when I should eat. I don't know when I should sleep. I don't know when I should do anything. So I wasn't actually hungry. Haven't eaten yet today, and now I realize it's 2 o'clock. So I'll probably have something to eat, rest a little bit, and then maybe I'll go live again this evening if I'm awake. But thank you so much. If I do go live either this evening or some other time, and you have any suggestions for anything that you want me to paint or anything that you're working on at the moment and you need help with, then just let me know. Either now or down below in the comments or on Discord at any point, because I'm very much open to suggestions and I'm having a lot of fun fulfilling the suggestions that you guys have given. I wanted to show you like some of my work that I was doing in preparation for your video. This is my swatch book, as you know. But I was literally writing, so this is like the cobalts. I was writing down the properties and testing them out, and pyrrolines and phthalos, quinacridones. So all this and more coming. Coming soon. Talk to you later. A piece of holly. Oh, that would be nice. That's a really great idea. Thank you. And have a nice day. I was going to say good night. Bye.